Hello friend, welcome to the Java puzzle, and today we are going to discuss about KeyCloak and will secure our Spring Boot REST API. If you think this video is helpful, then please like this video, share with your friends and subscribe this channel for more informative videos. One more thing, if you are new user then don't forget to press the bell icon after subscribe this channel. Now let's start. So today we are going to discuss these topics. So firstly, move to the introduction section. So what is Identity and Access Management, IAM? It is simply management of user and then their privilege for accessing a system. So it performs authentication and authorization, and also many systems depend on an IAM system because it is one who provide authentication and authorization for users, and system depend on whatever the claim provided by the identity and access management system. So let's move in the what is KeyCloak. So KeyCloak is an open source identity and access management solution aimed at modern applications and services. It makes it easy to secure applications and services with little to no code. It offers features such as single sign-on, SSO, identity brokering and social login, user federation, client adapters, and admin console. And one more, account management console. Some alternative like Okta and ForgeRock. There is some pros like it is the open source which we already discussed, support multiple identity provider, OpenID and SAML support, easy customization and JSON web token. Now we are going to install KeyCloak in our local system. So here, firstly we have to go in the KeyCloak website keycloak.org. So here firstly you have to go in the download section and download this zip file as I already downloaded. So this one is the zip file. When you will unzip this, you will see this KeyCloak, which is the latest version 16.10. So go inside it, go inside the bin, open the CMD here, and you have to open standalone.bat for the window application, and for Linux system you can use standalone.sh. So currently we are using window, so we will use standalone.bat. So when we will enter this, so here you will see it will take some time. Yeah, now it's listening. So let me open the browser here, localhost 8080. So by default KeyCloak is using 8080 by default port. So but the recommendation is to change the port from 8080 to something else, and for me I am going to change it to 8180. So what you have to do, firstly let me close this command prompt. So after this, let me go here, open the CMD here. So for this you have to add the offset of 100 to the default port available to KeyCloak server. So for 8080 is a default port, and I will add 100 to become it will be the 8180. So port offsets. Offset is equal to 100. So click enter. Yeah, now let's see it's up or not. Yeah, now it's up. So now you will see the localhost 8180 is now our KeyCloak port. So let me create a admin console. I will add admin, password is capital admin at 123. Create it. Now I'm now my user is created, admin user is created. So let me go in the admin console and see is it working or not. Admin and password is capital admin, which I added there. So let me sign in here. So now I'm able to log in here. Let's move to, so click on the home. Now before moving further, let me tell you some KeyCloak components. So there are some components which are present in the KeyCloak. First one is the realm, then client scope, roles, identity provider, user federation, and authentication. So for this video, we are going to discuss about realm, client, role, and rest of things we will discuss in the later video. So now again move to the admin console. So like admin console is this. So here admin console is used to configure and manage the different entity and implementation such as identity, user, and groups. On the left hand side, you will see the available options are under the admin console. Let's firstly discuss about these sections briefly. So like as you can see, I am in the realm setting. So you might thinking, what about the realm? So realm manages a set of user credentials, roles, and groups. Realms are isolated from each other and it can only manage and authenticate the user belonging to the particular realm. So realm setting contain many such tabs. So now in the login section, login tab, this tab contains the information related to user login and registration. All the options are self-explanatory. You have to place a mouse on the tooltip and know about these options. So let's move on the key section. So in here you will see KeyCloak server use the key to create digital signature and encrypt data. You can manage those keys in this section. Then email. So here you can configure your email server to verify user email for KeyCloak. In the theme tab, here you can customize the clock theme, and in the caches log, here you have a three type of caches: realm caches, user caches, and key caches. And rest of thing we will discuss later. So in the client you have to see. So in the client, what is client in KeyCloak? So client are entity that can request authentication of user. As you can see in this image, client can be request authentication of a user from KeyCloak system, and KeyCloak is the one who is responsible for authenticate a user. In order to authenticate a user, KeyCloak will ask you a username and password and some additional properties such as OTP. And with this information, KeyCloak tried to authenticate a user. On successful authentication, KeyCloak provided a JSON object provided user detail to client application. So there are two types of client provided by the KeyCloak. Type 1, an application which using single sign-on. This type of application only need the user authenticated through the KeyCloak and retrieve the user information. Normally, these clients get the user information from the ID token. In the type 2, an application which requests an access token so that it can invoke the service to authenticate user. Today we are going to discuss about the type 1 client. So in the client protocol, so here you will see KeyCloak support both OpenID Connect OIDC and SAML support for the communication with client. OIDC is a preferred way since it was designed to web friendly and work well with HTML5 and JavaScript applications. SAML is mature protocol, but it tends to be more verbose than OIDC. But with KeyCloak, we can choose any of above protocols based on the requirement. Now let's talk about the roles. So what is role in KeyCloak? So role identify a type of category or a user. As an example, inside an organization, there can be a role like an organization role can be admin, HR, employee, etc. Also, one user can have multiple roles. Application often assign access and privilege to user rather than individual user. Like admin can access all employee details, but employee can see only own details. Roles are assigned to individual users or group of users. Type of roles in KeyCloak, like realm role are defined in realm level and can be defined as global namespace to define roles. Client role, these are defined in client level role and is a namespace dedicated to a client. Let's move in the home, and here we are going to secure our application. We are moved in a main section of this tutorial. So let me open this. So we are logged in here. Let me close other tabs. So here, now let's firstly create a realm named as a Java puzzle, and let's create. So now my Java puzzle is created here. Now let me show you these endpoints. These are the endpoints for the realm Java puzzle. So let's close this, create a new client and named as Java puzzle client, and you can change here OpenID or SAML. So currently I'm using OpenID Connect here. At the root URL is localhost 8081 and we can say star. We are not going to define here, but if you want you can do here, but I'm currently at the asterisk after the application, so just save it. So now here you will see these are the root URL, valid redirect URL, admin URL, everything is done. You don't have to do anything here. So let's create some roles here. So let me create one role for the admin. Admin can access this resource. Now let me create one more role named as a employee. Employee can access this resource. Anything you can, description is not mandatory field, so you can add anything here. So now create some users. So let me create one user, admin user. Email is optional, so we just save it, and here we have to create a credential here. So I'm going to say admin, and here also the password is admin. And this temporary, you have to deselect this. This is the important. If you will enable this, so you will see, like, if enable, the user must change the password on next login. So just disable this and set password. Set password. Now our admin user is created here. Create one more user for employee user. Same thing, just save it. In the credential, add the password here, employee. Great. Disable this, set password. So now we created two roles and two user. So we have to give the role to the employee is a role is employee. Same for the all user here. Edit admin here. In the role mapping, give the credential role admin here. Just it. So after this, now our admin user got their role, employee user got their role. Now go to this realm setting and click on this OpenID configuration. So here you will see this token endpoint. This is important for us for this tutorial. So just copy this and open in the Postman. So our Postman is here. So this one. So here when you open a Postman and paste here your token ID, select here OAuth2 inside the authorization tab. So select the OAuth2, add this access token URL which you copied, just paste here. Client ID will be your client ID which you created there. Let me show you. You have to create here client here. You have to create this Java Puzzle client which we created earlier. So this client name will be the same here, and admin user, the password is admin, and click on get new access token. So you will see authentication is completed. So click on the proceed, and here you will see we get our access token, refresh token and ID token. So currently we have to use this access token, but if you want to know about the refresh token and ID token, so I will create a new video for this. What is the difference between them, what is the purpose, and where we will use these tokens. So if you want, so please comment below and let me know if you want this video, so I will create that one for you. So click on this use token. Now that access token is pasted here. So that means everything is working fine. So let me create our Spring Boot application here. So firstly, open the Spring Boot initializer. So com.java puzzle artifact is, we can add artifact Spring Boot KeyCloak example. So jar is fine, 11 is fine. Add some dependencies here. So first dependency will be Spring Web. Then we have to add a Lombok. Then we have to add a Spring Security. Then we have to add JPA and MySQL driver. So now we created here, just click on this generate. It downloaded. So I'll show you KeyCloak, and here you will see I downloaded it. Just extract it, close, and let me open this in IntelliJ. So let's open this inside the main. Here let me create one package for model and create here one class named as employee, and here we have to add some entities here. So private int id, private string name, private string department name, and add some Lombok dependencies here. All arg constructor, all args constructor, then project at Lombok. Let me open this and let me run first this Maven. Yeah, now no args constructor, then data, then we have to add some JPA annotation, entity, and one more table, just table. So now it's showing the error because we have to add one annotation, ID annotation, and some generated value also. Generated value strategy, generated type will be auto. So now our entity class is completed. Now let's create a repository. Repository will be the interface. So repository dot employee repository. So this one will be the, we have to add repository annotation first, then we have to extend extends JPA repository. Inside it, we have to pass employee and integer. That's it. Now let's create our controller. Controller.employee controller. So now here, let me add this first REST controller, then let me auto-wire my repository interface here. So employee repository here. Now we will create here the two API, one for the admin, one for the user. So let me create the post mapping, and I'm going to add, like, for you easily you can understand, so admin slash employee public response entity employee. Let me add class here. Save employee here. Just return response entity and employee repository. Save employee. The first API is completed, so admin can insert the employee detail. Second one is get mapping. And it would be input class, it would be user endpoint. Let's create public response entity employee, get employee, and here return response entity. We have to return here like response entity dot okay and response entity find all. That's it. So yeah, it would be list of employee Now our controller is completed. Now after creating the controller, now we have to add KeyCloak security adapter. For this, search the KeyCloak adapter. Let me search here KeyCloak adapter. So here you will see this one, securing application and service guide. So just open it. And just go below, click on this Spring Boot. Here you will see there is two dependencies, one for the KeyCloak. Let me copy this and let me copy this also. Move to here, open the POM, add the dependencies. So let me add this KeyCloak dependency and dependency management. Run this. So after adding this, let me create one configuration package with security config class configuration dot security config. So let me copy this. So yeah, it's done. So here you will see, like, firstly we will add this KeyCloak configuration. Then we will import this KeyCloak Spring Boot config resolver class. Then we enable our web security. So here you will see we extend this KeyCloak web security configurer adapter. Okay, when you click on it, when you will see the code here, so you will see like this web security configurer adapter. When you will use Spring Security with Spring Boot, you have to extend this class with your security adapter class. Like currently we have security config, so that security adapter class you have to extend this web security configurer adapter. But for this example, we are using KeyCloak web security configurer adapter, which extend web security configurer adapter internally. And in the below you will see we added two end measure where we will define that admin/asterisk has a role of admin. Only admin can be access this endpoint, and for the user these endpoint will be for the employee. Let me run, but firstly let me add some configuration, some KeyCloak and MySQL configuration. Let me go in the source, create one YAML file, application.yaml. So here firstly we just pass here the server port which will be the 8081. We added our realm which we created Java puzzle, and our auth URL which is localhost 8180 auth, and our resource is Spring Boot clock example, and our public client will be true, bearer only will be the true. And here we added our database here. So database is DemoDB. So let me open a database. Let me add here data source which is a MySQL, and my port is 307, username root. Let me check connection. Yeah, it's done. Apply and OK. Now my DemoDB is created here. So now our connection DemoDB is here, and our username password is root. Hikari initial fail timeout will be 0. JPA MySQL 5 dialect and other thing is here. So now our configuration is done. Our KeyCloak configuration, our DB configuration, all are done. So let's run the application. Run this. Just clear this and move to So in the Postman, our app URL is this one. So we created employee, we created user employee, and other one is the admin employee. So for this user employee, you will see user can access. Let me show you the code in the employee. Here you will see the admin can be access this API and user can access this API. So that means user can access this API. So firstly login with the employee user, the password which we given there was the employee. Get new access token. If it is completed, that means everything is fine. So click on the proceed, use this token, and click on this. So here you will see the status is 200. That means user are able to access this API. Employee is able to access this API. Okay, so let's see. The admin can access this API. Let me check. Admin password is admin. Get a new access token. Proceed. Use the token. Now we have an access token of admin user. Let's click on the send. So you will see 403 forbidden error. You will see the here forbidden error. Okay, so am I able to use the admin employee? It will be the post in the body. I'm using this. Let's see admin can access this resource or not. So here you will see, sorry, department name. So send again. Let me run the code again. Let me change this employee with the department only. Now run this again. Run this again. Stop and clear this table. Employee. Let me clear this. Truncate. Let me SQL script. Okay, so just truncate employee. Now it's truncated. Let me check. Select star from employee. So it's blank. So let's close this, minimize this also, and run the application again. Now let's send this. Oh, the issue is that we have to add request body here. That was we missed. That's why the data is going null. Okay, so let me truncate again. Truncate. Now it's truncated. Just minimize again. Close this one. The employee. Oh, get it 2 times. Just remove this. Yeah, now it's fine. Let's run this application and see. Don't show. Now let's click on it. Yeah, now it's saving our 7 current dev. It's saving here. So let's try to save using the user credential. So go to the authorization, add the employee user, add the credential of employee, go to the access token, proceed, use this token, and in the body just change it to Java puzzle. Click on the send Now it's forbidden. So you see that this is a working fine. But now we secured our API application using KeyCloak. But one thing I want to share with you. Like firstly, go in the security config, and here we have to add one more annotation: enable global method security, and here we have to add JSR 250 enable. And one more thing, we are going to comment this. We are not going to use this. So now after commenting this end matcher, how our application will authorize the resources? So by enabling this enable global method security annotation, you are able to use the role allowed annotation. So let me show you how you will use that. So let's suppose for this save employee details only, admin have a role allowed. This one is only for the admin, so you have to add here admin. Let me add this admin dependency. Sorry. One minute. This would be roles. Sorry. Roles allowed. Class. And for this get mapping, I just want to add, you can use employee here, like roles allowed, inside it employee. Let's suppose I want to give the permission to admin also to see the employee details. So what you have to do, you have to add this one and add admin also here. So multiple roles you can add here. So now our API get mapping is accessible by the employee and admin, but the post mapping is only allowed for the admin. So let's see the flow. So let me run the application again. And let me show in the browser it's running fine. Yeah. So let me try to add this post using the employee, which I already did, I think. Yeah, for 403. Let me try to run again. So it throw the 403 again, forbidden. Like we suppose go in the get, and now employee is access this resource user. Click on the send. Yes, users are able to access this API. So let me check, are employees able to access, because we made the changes for the employee also. So admin, click on get new access token, proceed, use this token and send this. So as you can see, now admin also able to access this token. So what is the advantage with this enable global method security? Like you are able to add the role on the API level. You don't have to add this matcher and matcher. So I hope you like this video. If you think this is helpful for you, so please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.